Today I'll be showing you how I came up with this detailed roof design for my steampunk gear-shaped Grand Gazebo. Hello my fine feathered friends, I'm Songbird. Welcome to my building vlog where I'll take you along with me while I work on an arc building project so you can learn along with me as I figure things out and we can watch the project take shape from the ground up. Today I'm continuing work on a build for my biggest collab project yet. I'm coordinating and building for a big charity stream with two much bigger content creators, Aaron Longstaff and Ras Clark. Their Extra Life charity stream is scheduled for November 1st, so there's a lot to do and not a lot of time. Thankfully, I have some other friends and fellow content creators who've joined me in this project, so I'm not working alone. Today's build was complex as I had to work around some challenges both in-game and real life. But in spite of that, I'm really happy with how this roof turned out. Stick around and I'll show you my process and how we got this super detailed result. I also was able to give a little tutorial to a team member on one of the best tiny mods, my absolute favorite sign mod, Scribble's Better Signs. And I also played around with a really fun suspension bridge from a mod, so I'll show you how that works too. All right, let's get going. I started out in a voice chat talking with one of my collab partners for this project, Mikey. So I showed him how some of the mods worked, and then we just chatted about all kinds of different stuff. So I'm not going to keep all of that in here. You don't need to hear all of the stories and stuff, but I'll add some voiceover just explaining what I'm doing with the building. So I was showing Mikey around the build as it is so far. And I had started working on the roof. I had tried some different methods.
Where's the teleporter?
In the middle.
Oh, I'm a knucklehead. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, you can paint them and you can mesh stuff around them and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
So I recorded this in the evening after a live stream, and I will use that as my excuse for why I was so tired that I didn't notice that I didn't turn off my live stream overlay for the entire several hours that I was recording this building. I've done my best to zoom it in a little bit to at least cut out some of the overlay spam, but yeah, sorry that that's there. We talked about some of the challenges of planning good activities for two ARC YouTubers with very different play styles. But yeah, Aaron's been making videos probably a little longer, but he hasn't played it as much as Ras has because he's been focusing on building pretty much since the beginning.
Absolutely. 100%.
Since even the very first server he joined with friends, it's like as soon as he discovered the building, you know, that's it. He never wanted to leave base again or do anything else. I was explaining to him how to use one of my favorite tiny little mods, a must-have on all my servers, Scribble's Better Signs.
Okay, we're going to put that sign up and then we're going to go with, you said go with a sign, a regular wall sign?
Yeah, just the wooden sign.
Okay. And you said is it a skin or what to make it all neon and?
No, it's just an option. You just didn't need to go into the radial and go into
increase size.
The increase, decrease. There's fonts. There's the toggle visibility, I think it's called.
I don't see any of those.
You're probably looking at a vanilla sign then. It should be called Scribble's sign. You have to hit R to toggle through the different versions.
Admin sign, metal sign.
Scribble's Smallwood sign, Scribble's Smallwood frontier sign, Scribble's Smallwood sign square, Scribble's Smallwood sign, Scribble's Smallwood frontier. There's like 10 different options in there. Just the wood one is the one I usually make, but I don't know how many versions there are in the metal sign.
Am I a DD or I just can't find, or am I just dumb?
Here, I'll share my screen and show you what I'm seeing. All right, let me know if you can see.
I can see your screen.
Okay, so I've got the sign here and hit R to cycle through all of the different options. So there's the vanilla options, and then we're on to the Scribbles options here. Like there's the
you got to go through the regular sign options to get to Scribble. Okay.
Yeah. I'm
looking at my crafting going, I don't see anything labeled Scribbles.
Yeah, got to make the regular one, and then it's a variant of the regular one. But like, look at this billboard here, just to give you an idea of how how configurable this is, the sign size. It can be like super, super, super tiny, or like
Oh my God.
Yeah. And check this out. Okay. Let me see. Perfect. There, just for fun. And that's just the font that was kind of default on there. But now I can get in here and I can go and I can make the make the font bigger. I can even make it go off the edges of the sign if I want to. And then I can even go to font glow. You can paint it. You can paint it too. The letters are always region 6, I believe, the last region. But like I can make them glow like quite a bit. I can go back and hide sign, and then see it's just floating. And when the sign is hidden, it also doesn't have, at least in ASE, it doesn't have collision when the sign itself is hidden. So if you're going to paint it, if you're going to change the color of the letters, you have to do that before you hide the sign, or make it, you can make it visible again. Oh, and you can make it closer to the wall or farther away from the wall. Like so many options with these things. Yeah, and like just to give you an idea of how this can be useful anywhere you can type text, you can also make arrows.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now for the first real directional change.
Yep.
I'm doing follow the arrows.
Yep. Yeah. In the architects event, that if you watch that old stream that I sent you a link to, you'll see a lot of these all over the place. Because I found this mod in ASE first and introduced the architects to it. And so there's a lot of floating letters, different places, floating arrows.
You know what's going to be fun with this? We can even put little warnings. Beware the piranhas. Oh
yeah, definitely. They're really fun for decor as well. Yeah, I had signs, my Halloween build, I had creepy signs on the walls because they supposedly were in this witch's domain and whatever, like mwahaha, you're mine now, or you'll never escape, whatever, different things. And I just had those it just looked like those were just on the wall of the cave they were in.
And you said it has no collision?
It has no collision if you hide the sign. If the sign is there, then there is collision.
Because I'm going to put follow the arrows where you can't miss it, right in their path.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of questions about that mod on my servers and on my streams different times since I recommend it all over the place. So thanks so much to Mikey for letting me do a little tutorial there and share it with y'all as well. I know that a lot of other people were confused about the same thing. Make sure to pop over to Mikey's channel and show him some love. So this was one option I was trying out for the roofs, and I did like it. It is definitely an option that would work in a lot of situations. I ended up going with something different, but I do really like how it looks. So if you want a simpler roof, that's a good option.
If you want to do a whole bunch of signs, you can even, this is a new thing for ASA, so I'm not really used to it yet, but you can set the details like this, the size, the font, all of that. See, if while you just have the sign, before you place it, you just got the green ghost right there in your face. It's got sign scale, font scale, and glow, and you can cycle through options before you place it down, and then you can just click, and it'll remember what you set it as.
Oh.
I believe you can also set the font. You probably have to set the first sign with the font. I don't know if you can cycle font options before you get into it, but then it does remember that your preference there.
That'd be nice.
So very nice.
Put that down at the normal size. We're going to increase the text size.
I tried a bunch of different options for railing designs on the roof to try to add some fancy detail.
And you said there's a way to change the color?
You have to paint it.
Oh.
Yeah, the writing will be in region 6.
It's 10:30. I gotta hit the rack. Back at it tomorrow after the stream.
Sounds good.
I am going to be doing a sneak preview stream. I have 2 designs that I'm doing video editing on right now.
Nice.
And I am going to rebuild them on stream.
Nice. All right. Well, I better let you
behave
go.
yourself.
You too. Have a good one.
Thanks for the tidbits and advice. I'm gonna have fun with those little bouncing things.
You're very welcome. Have fun. Good night.
Take care.
So I decided to explore the design that I started on this other roof and see what I would do with that one going upwards. I like to have more than one option before I make a final decision on a design, at least if I have time to mess around with it, because I did like how the bottom of this side turned out with the overlapping roofs there and the railings almost looking like lace at the bottom. So I decided to do another layer of something similar, basically another tier, and just see what that would look like. And I will show how I did that one side of the roof there. Just stick around, and in a little while I'll be redoing that around more of the sides of the roof, so I'll be able to show you exactly how that was done. I tried ramps at first just to see what that would look like. I do like the way the ramps look in other places, but here on the roof, it just wasn't doing anything for me. So I decided to go back to the regular roof angle. I also really like how the double door frames can kind of look like thinner, fancy pillars. And then those fancy arches there are from Klinger's Additional Rustic Building. And yeah, so I'll show how all that comes together a little bit later. I was trying to remember how I did the other side over there, and so I started out trying to remember with the pillars how I got the second tier of the roof, the support for that. Of course, I wasn't paying very close attention. Anybody who is paying any kind of attention may have seen the mistake that I am making here. Ghost mode can be really handy while you're building, since it lets you go through solid structures so that you don't have to keep going around if you're going in and out, to be able to see something like a roof from both sides. Very, very handy. If you're in creative mode, you just type cheat ghost to enter ghost mode. Finally, I did what I should have done all along, which was step back and really study what I'd done on the other side. And I realized that the problem was the height of the pillars. And of course, looking down at the ground, the pillars, only half a pillar was showing on that one side, down at floor level. With all of the different layers and snap points going on, it still took me a few minutes to figure out what I did and how exactly I got that layered roof piece to begin with. Of course, it's always a little more difficult to figure something like this out when you're distracted, but you know what? That's life sometimes. We don't always have a lot of focused time to spend on something like a video game. You know, even if I want to make content about it, there's real life, and real life is always going to be more important than video games. So my husband came in at one point and just had a lot of stuff he wanted to talk about, and so it was really good. He doesn't mind if I'm working on something while we talk, and so he was telling me all about work situations and stuff, and we talked for a good long time while I was working on this. So you may see his hand on the back of my chair here and there in the video. But I finally realized how exactly I got the pillars to show only a half, because the thing is, I couldn't use a half pillar from Architect Structures Remastered because the skins, the steampunk skins don't work on the half pillars, since they're not a pillar size that exists in vanilla. So I had to use full pillars. And so I put the half walls in place to give me a snap point at the right height. And then in ghost mode, I went underneath the foundations and underneath the ground even to make sure that I made the pillars long enough that they would go through the ground and have foundation support, so that I could then remove those half walls without the pillar going away. These little quarter walls can be so handy sometimes with giving you the right snap points. But if you don't have the pillars going all the way down through the ground, then when you remove those, that will remove the pillar's foundation support, and they will also disappear. If I'd been building this on a server where I didn't have admin privileges, the other way to do this would be for me to remove the other foundations and pillars in front of it, so that there was an empty space where I could see that the pillars were going far enough down to intersect with the ground without going into ghost mode. So after using one vanilla texture pillar at the bottom so that I could put the steampunk skin on it, I switched to using the ASR thin block pillar because I really like how that coordinates with the steampunk stuff, the blocks texture. And then over on the other side, I had snapped triangle ceilings to the tops of the pillars. And so I repeated that pattern again with the triangle ceilings kind of overlapping in a fun little pattern there, which then gave me a snap point to put some quarter walls, which was the basis of how I then was able to get another layer of roofs. Now, one thing leads to another, leads to another. I just mess around and sometimes create problems for my future self, but then, sometimes you just got to have faith that your future self will figure out a solution, and sometimes it ends up looking better than what you might have done if you hadn't had a problem. So I topped off this layer with triangle roofs, as you can see, then decided it would make a more fun of overlap pattern to do triangles and squares and then triangles again like this. So I tried that out to see if I liked it, how it looked, and decided that I do. I kind of like the layered look. It's like a layer cake or something. So I took down the other side so I could repeat the same pattern again. So now you'll get to see it again using that little wall I had there. So 2 up and 2 down from the little quarter wall, and then another set of quarter ceilings to set that third tier of roof. So while I was working all this out, I was listening to and talking with my husband. You can see his hand on the back of my chair there. But of course, I'm cutting out a lot of this. I'm cutting to just where I'm putting blocks down, etc. So it might look like I'm just sitting there listening, but we actually did quite a lot of chatting and I did a lot of listening. It was a really good conversation, actually. It was telling me all about some situations at his work. I decided to just go with 2 quarter roofs, 2 quarter ceilings in the middle there because that gave me the snap points that I need. I didn't need the extra ones on the outside there. I really just like the fun pattern you get when you mesh things through each other. I know for some people that's a big no-no, but rules are meant to be broken, right? I just like how it looks. As long as you are able to mesh things through each other in a way that it makes a pleasing pattern, then yeah, it's awesome. And you might say, oh, well, but you can't do that on official. Yeah, well, that's why I don't play on official. And it would probably be smarter for my channel for me to only build things that could also be built on official so that I could try to, also have videos that official players might be able to follow tutorials too, but there's lots of people doing those kinds of tutorials. This is how I like to build. So if people watch my videos who play on official, maybe I'll be able to inspire them to come to the dark side, come over to unofficial with us where we can actually have real fun and do things our own way, because heaven forbid people just play a game and have fun, right? Yeah. I really like this pattern. So what do you think of this roof design? Did you like the first method better or this multi-tiered version like this? Add some steampunk skins. And then I absolutely love these decorative arch pieces from Klinger Additional Rustic Building. These are a variant of the Klinger wall, so you just have to cycle through all of the many wall options until you find it. But really, absolutely love those. So back into ghost mode. So I was trying to think of how to make it look better on the inside, because of course on the stream, the inside's probably how it's mostly going to be visible. So I decided that, it'd be kind of cool if I could figure out a way to have like a skylight top to the roof, have some more natural lighting in there, change up the roof design a bit. So swapped in some Klinger greenhouse roofs and triangle roofs here and there. I like how that changed it up. Just gives some more interest to the roof when you're looking up from inside. I'm trying to think of how to finish this particular edge here. Tried a couple of different ways, either with the triangle meshed so only the tip is showing, or with the full triangle. and decided I definitely like the full triangle better, but they're just not necessary at all. And I don't want to add pieces just for the sake of adding pieces. If they don't add anything, then it's, you know, if they're not worth what they add to lag, then they can just go. These railings definitely seem worth it though. Yeah, this will look amazing once I've finished it around the other side as well, which I'm hoping to maybe get some help from a building volunteer or something. Now that I've established the pattern that I want to use, I could teach somebody else how to do it, and that could save some time so that I could work on a different project. So I was trying to figure out how to connect this building down here with that one up on the hill. I messed around with finding a few different ways. Putting a doorway on this building is definitely tricky because of the funky shape of it. If you're curious about how I got this funky shape, the first video of this series, I show how I did that foundation. And it's a circle method I've never used before, actually. Kind of came up with it on the fly, and so I'm still figuring out how to solve problems that came up along the way. But that's what makes it fun, right? The fact that it's what I call a pinwheel design, in that all the pieces are kind of pointing a particular direction. So I decided to try out the Klinger suspension bridges, and they are pretty picky. I tried a bunch of different places, a bunch of different configurations. They don't let you put it at any kind of a steep angle, or if they figure it's too steep from side to side or up and down, it won't let you do it. And it can't clip through any terrain at all. But finally I found a place where that worked, and then I decided to try the other side as well. Clip through the terrain so it wouldn't work. So I put in a cliff platform to try that, and tried a few different places to get it to connect. I really wanted to try to make the bridge more sloped, but if it's more than like a wall difference in height, it wouldn't seem to let me do it. Well, maybe 2 walls. That looks like about maybe 2 walls in height. Well, there you go. That's what I managed to get done in this project today, in spite of being distracted with helping and supporting other people, including one of my team members and also my husband. So I am really glad that this is a game and this is a creative endeavor that I can fit in around other more important things, you know, like being there for my partner. So if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you watched this all the way to the end, just leave me an emoji that expresses how you're feeling right now. I would love to see that. And I would love to hear about your building experiences, your triumphs, your frustrations, your favorite builds, things that you wish you could build. I'd love to hear all about it, as well as what is your other favorite building game? I'm curious about what other building games there are out there, because maybe I'll do a series like this about building in some other game sometime. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, for hitting the like button. I appreciate you. Thank you to all the channel members. Your encouragement and support means so much to me. I can't express it enough. And if you want to chat sometime, join my Discord. I've got a channel over there where you can share your own building screenshots as well. And I'd love to see you there. Have a great day. Bye-bye for now.